Cox, and this is Dog in the Clouds. It's for my exhibition called Swerve at Another Year in LA. This is called Grafted Holes Around. The majority of these pieces are made with vegetable packaging mesh, and there are sections that I've cut and hand sewn together with monofilament. The main thrust of this piece is the optical tension between looking through it and the back, kind of redefining the front and the shadows with the light. And these smaller pieces are Ghost 1, Ghost 2, and Ghost 3. And they're kind of explorations of how surface can become form, and form is really made from surface. And they were, I was looking a lot at diatoms and natural forms, cellular forms. And then I would just work in an improvisational manner. And the relationship to those forms would just surface in the process. And this is called looping. It's made from monofilament. And like all of my work, it's just made in a very improvised fashion. I just started winding the monofilament around itself and then just kept making components and then kind of connected them together. This long piece is called strand, and it can be a strand of DNA, any kind of strand that conjures your imagination. And it's made again with the vegetable packaging mesh. You can see the little bit of monofilaments that the sections have been sewn together with. And so again, it's component based, and it can be seen kind of as a vertebrae. Some people see it as a hanging dragon. So it's all of the kinds of associations that spring to the viewer's mind and my mind as I make it. And it also has to do, one of my major interests is the way that we see the work and how the work works with light and shadow, and how it's either obvious, all the little holes in it, or the big holes, depending on where you're seeing, like what's concealed and what's revealed based on how you are stand and move around the piece and what it's like in space. And this is a piece that's called Drift, and it's made from vegetable packaging mesh like the other ones. This one is a little bit different because I found a way to use heat to kind of fashion these pieces in a way that the edges are a little bit more determined. So that gave me kind of a greater freedom in kind of shaping and working with this material. And again, it like works with the shadow. Shadow and light is a really important part of it. And all the works are kind of based around curvilinear structures, and this is another exploration of them. This piece is called Swerve, and it's again made in the same way, taking material, improvising with it. It's made of the vegetable packaging mesh, horsehair tubing, which is a millinery material. This is horsehair tubing. There's some rubber tubing. There's monofilament over here. And the thing that I like about this piece is the way that it interacts with gravity, just the way that it sits on the floor, the way that it creates a dialogue with a hanging piece and how that engages gravity. So you have these kind of two different physicalities and the way that they have a dialogue with each other. And also the pieces on the wall. is interesting to me. And this is called grafted holes. Again, it's made from sections of the vegetable packaging mesh being sewn together into forms and then in an improvisational manner put together, reassembled, put together again. So it's very process-oriented. This cellular blue. It's made with horsehair fabric that I sewed into these shapes. And this is monofilament that I braided into these long sections, and I just combined them, recombined them, and combined them again until they kind of fall into place. This is cellular blue-green. It has like 2 layers of horsehair tubing, horsehair fabric sewn into each other. And these are just variation on the forms. So the transparency is a big part of this piece, especially with the horsehair fabric. The way you can look through it and they can kind of bleed together. So it sort of brings into question the idea of perception, visual perception again, how we see things, how we define what we're looking at, and inherent ambiguity in that process. Cellular blue too. Which has a little bit of different treatment of the horsehair material. This little guy is made by totally unraveling the horsehair fabric. So it's just continuing the exploration of materials and how you can work with them.